New year, same James Wudi. Could be is it a new BG? All right, I guess we'll have to find out. All right, we got one more game to play or to watch or sit through. I don't know. It's a torturous season. So just one more of those. And hey, we got to talk X's and O's or maybe big picture things. Maybe we got to talk big picture things. Of course, as you already know, we always face an AFC East opponent. So we need to know what's going on with our division. And we're going to find out a lot today. So stay tuned. Happy New Year. It's Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, jet, jet, jet! Let's go! J-E-T-S, jet, jet, jet! Let's go! There you go, Woody!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Woody, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby. Boy Green
meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere right here. Oh, I guess over here it's the boy that became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr. And right away during the intro, I seen a comment on Instagram, Quinn MC12, can you give me a quick shout out? Of course I can. Shout out to you. Holla at your boy. Happy New Year's to you. But today we got a special guest. Like we said, we got to pick ourselves up, watch one more game of New York Jets football before our favorite time of the year, the off season. But that team that we're playing against is the Buffalo Bills, a team that we see a lot. Week 2, we saw them. And we brought in this guy from the Bills Roundtable. Excellent conversation. And we liked it so much. He was so nice. We got to bring him back twice. Come on now. Kevin Nasseri, come on down. How you doing, our good sir?
You guys always get me so pumped up with your intros. I'm like, I want some more. I need another 30 seconds of that intro to get me going. But last time we spoke, guys, I mean, you guys were still a little bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about this season. I mean, even that performance, I think against the Steelers, if I recall,
correct.
Last
That's
time
right.
we spoke,
yeah.
And we were like, okay, all right, this could be a little bit tougher than we think going in. And honestly, I really thought the Jets season would go different. I'm just saying that I really liked some of the roster talent. I'll be just straight up honest, and man, I guess it's gone a different way, but here we are. The Bills did have a competition for this division. It ended up coming in the form of the Patriots, weakest schedule in NFL history. But here we are, and love to talk about what we got going on Sunday.
Kevin, I will just say real quick, looking back to that beautiful matchup that I always love referencing between the Jets and Bills the first time around, the fact that Mitchell Trubisky, so Michael Clemens punches Josh Allen in the face. His nose starts gushing blood. He has to rush off the field. They're like, all right, Mitchell Trubisky, get your ass in the game. He's like, all right. On 3rd and 18, he's like, where's Sauce Gardner? Oh, there he is. Boop. And he gets like a 30-yard completion
Josh Palmer
on 3rd down. And then he immediately comes off the field. And then Josh Allen comes back in, the Caped Crusader. He comes back in and saves the day. Mitchell Trubisky with that one throw had more passing yards than Justin Fields had in the entire game. That's the stat that I remember from this season. And now, again, Woody, so nice. We get to do it twice. So a second game. And I imagine this one has special meaning, Kevin. I guess we'll go there first. The Ralph, Highmark Stadium. This is the final game in that building outside of an interesting machination where somehow the Bills are like a 5 seed and they're playing the 7 seed in the AFC Championship game. So outside of, whatever the odds of that happening are, this is likely the final game in that stadium before you guys move across the street. Does this have extra juice for the fans and for the team? Or is the team, because the Bills can't win the division, do they not even look at this game in that light?
That's a good question. I would say just generally lately underneath McDermott, they would not be playing. Last year they had some culmination of Mike White playing. They even benched Trubisky. They didn't want to get him hurt in the game last year. And literally, it's still talked about to this day last year, week 18, where the Bills did not want the Patriots picking at the top of the draft. So they threw it. And obviously they got Will Campbell out of it, but there's much talk about they didn't want him getting Hunter. They didn't want him anywhere near Abdul Carter. Ended up working out, I guess, with Will Campbell's been hurt. But the Bills definitely threw that game in the second half. They punted at one time when it was like they've never punted in they're on like the 38 on a 4th and inches, and they punted. It wasn't great. So I would have said that was where we were going with this game on Sunday. But you're right. There is some extra juice in the building for fans. You're giving away a one-time commemorative token that I'm sure is going to get traded for tons of money. As people are going to try to hunt those things, which is weird. People are weird with their tokens around here and like trinkets. We have tons of old school Bills vintage stores around the city that do very, very well. So this means stuff to me personally. I'm very excited. Everyone's been pumping up our new stadium, and they did it right, and they copied European stadiums, and the way the overhang is with the heat, but still the outdoor element. And I mean, people are very excited for this new stadium, but Buffalo's extremely nostalgic. I know tons of people who are paying big money to go to this game, believe it or not, and they're wearing the red helmets, which people have wanted since the 90s. So there is some reason for the fan to actually enjoy this game rather than the usual Bills Patriots end of season. How can we get out of here with just Ty Johnson taking 40 carries?
That's super interesting, actually. Hopefully, y'all give the Ralph the respect it deserves. Because I need that pick. We need that. I think we do.
The Bills have been known to lower that pick though, so be careful.
I know. I am nervous. This is something that I said in August that so far has aged all right. Not amazing, but we still alive. My August Super Bowl pick was the LA Rams versus the Buffalo Bills. You fast forward, you get to week 14, and you're looking at, Mahomes went down, Lamar went down, Burrow been down. So the path seemingly cleared for the other big name QB in the AFC to do his thing right now, because since then now we just had a tough loss last week. When I say we, I actually meant you against the Eagles. How do you feel? Is this the year that Josh Allen is in the Super Bowl?
I mean, the Bills have been the 2 seed historically throughout this Josh Allen run, literally like clockwork. They're always one game behind the 1 and usually pretty far ahead for the other division winners, where they've always sitting in this 2 seed. And they've had different paths a little bit. It usually ends up with Kansas City. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is 14-2 in the AFC side of the bracket. So at some point, nobody else has even close a combination of anywhere near that. So that's been a blocker for the entire AFC, not just Josh Allen, the entire thing. Lou Anarumo and Joe Burrow got him once, and then obviously Tom Brady got him once as basically a rookie. Other than that, no one's gotten him. He's been in the AFC Championship game, was going for 4 straight Super Bowls. That was another nostalgic thing. The Bills fans did not want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, not because of the Bills, but because it was going to tie the 4 times in a row the Bills Super Bowl AFC on the AFC side. So that's out of the way. But the Chiefs have been the Bills' biggest blocker. I mean, it is what it is. The Bills have been very good during an era where Patrick Mahomes has been better. That's all it's been. He turns it on in the playoffs, even when he's struggling down the stretch. No matter his roster, you just know that at some point, no matter what the Bills are out there, and the Bills have been historically injured in the playoffs, and that leads into this conversation today of, did they stop going all out to come back and claw and scratch? And we saw it a little bit in the Eagles game where I think they were just running out the clock, guys. And at the end of the game, they're like, all right, we have a chance at this thing. We're going to go try to win it in the 4th quarter because it was there for the taking. And they pretty much did. They called a 2-point conversion play that worked. Josh Allen just dirted it. He doesn't miss that throw much. So that's how close that game was. And, Nick Sirianni's acting like it is this part 2 of the Super Bowl. I was like yelling at people where we were like, even AJ Brown was like, dude, what is this guy? Like, we're both clinched in our spots. I'm not really sure what this guy's so amped up about. But anyways, guys, Patrick Mahomes has been the Bills' biggest blocker. I still don't hate your Rams-Bills pick because even if they're both in the 5 or the 6 seeds, those are 2 dangerous teams that are going to have 2 Super Bowl betting odds toward the top of the list. And it is funny that both of them have a similar path to this thing. And I truly think the Rams are the best team in the NFC side. So we'll see if that ends up, or if San Francisco or somebody else comes out of there and is able, Seattle does come out of there on that side. But the Bills don't have a huge blocker this year, guys. They don't have a lot of excuses. We'll see how this thing looks wild card round. If they can come out of this Jets game with no issues, we can't have a big injury.
Of course, Jets can always cause problems. There's no question about it. I'm glad that you highlighted that. Kevin, let's go in a weird direction here. How good are you at Bills trivia?
Decent, depending on what. Very good at modern trivia. Okay. I get fuzzy as you go. Like if you're talking like 70s and 80s, I get like fuzzy for sure.
All right, here it is. So it's a multi-parter. So
the
first
Jets.
off, no. Has a Buffalo Bill ever led the league in rushing?
Yes, O.J. Simpson.
That is correct. How many? And so I'll give you a hint. It's more than once. How many times did O.J. Simpson during his career led the NFL in rushing?
Twice.
4 times. He did it in back-to-back years. So it was 76, 77. It was a 1-year break in between in 75, and he did it in 74 and 73. And that includes, of course, one of the legendary list of 2,000-yard rushers in our league's history. And that, by the way, folks, 14-game season is when he did that. So make sure you put some respect on that name. But, of course, the reason why I bring up all this fun trivia is James Cook is currently leading the league in rushing. I believe it's a 57-yard rushing lead over Jonathan Taylor. So similar style question to the Bills Stadium one. How important is that? How important is that for the Bills, or how important is it to James Cook maybe, and then maybe he can sort of fight his case for the Bills? Because to your point earlier, there's not a lot of seeding changes that can happen outside of like rearranging the deck chairs at Titanic. You're going to the playoffs in a wild card. We can all argue 5, 6, 7, what's more important matchups and all that other jazz, because it'll, of course, depend on some other teams too. And there's some things that we just won't know. Ravens, Steelers, we won't know that result while the Bills Jets game is going on. So you have no idea if you want to avoid the Ravens or don't, or whatever team may potentially be out there. So that's a long windup to say, how important is it to James Cook? How important is it to the Bills? Would that matter in decision-making of how long James Cook plays, to give him some time to pad some yardage potentially against his god-awful Jets defense and see if he could get it? Or is it just like, hey, sorry, buddy, we have bigger things planned, and if you lead the league in rushing, great. If you don't, we don't care.
I would have thought it was the latter, to be honest, until yesterday. McDermott said it is on his mind, and he is thinking about it, which he doesn't usually say. So I think it's an offensive stat he likes, not even just a James Cook. He referenced the old Bills O-line very strong. The Jets O-line's been pretty decent in my opinion themselves. But if you look at the Bills O-line, they do pride themselves on being the top O-line in the league. And a lot of metrics do point to that. They've given Josh Allen over 5 seconds on each of his sacks. Josh Allen is at over 5 seconds to throw the ball. So anything that happens on the passing game has been Josh. He's been trying to big play hunt. But from the running perspective, the Bills do feel like they're the best running team in the league. I do think that matters to them. At some point, they may decide to shut it down if they do get out. But if it's close, I'm not going to be shocked by a couple extra James Cook carries that I was not expecting in this game. Like I mentioned, I was expecting Ty Johnson for 30 carries. I don't think we're going to get that. I unfortunately think. And then the offense was a little sloppy last week in a kind of seeding game, this very similar kind of environment. The NFL dirted this game with the Bills-Eagles last week, putting it so late. It didn't have as much meaning as they were hoping. Maybe both teams were playing for the 1 seed or something. Neither team was really in the running for the 1 seed, and really wasn't overly meaningful. So the Bills, they have said they do care about how they look going in, just kind of like the Rams have said, Woody. So they do. I do think we'll see a little bit more than I was anticipating seeing, which scares me half to death on. But James Cook is very good about not taking shots. So in this game, they will tell him to not fight for an extra 5 yards. It is not going to be one of those games where they can't have that right now. So he is going to go for it, though, from the initial input and what McDermott said yesterday. I do anticipate them using him in spots and in certain plays they feel comfortable with. and probably getting 5 to 10 more carries than I thought he would, to be honest. They do care about it. And you also have Bijan Robinson, who's kind of far, but he could still get it, seeing as Atlanta's trying to play spoiler all season. And you have Jonathan Taylor, who probably will take the ball a lot with a rookie quarterback.
Derrick Henry, too. I know he's a little far out,
game.
but like, shoot, I mean,
careful.
Maybe.
That's why he needs to get about 70 yards to feel comfortable. But really does need to get probably close to 100 plus I'm not sure how they're going to push it, man. At the end of this, I think they'll know where Taylor is, though, because he plays at 1. So that will dictate how much run he gets. And then they're just going to, if Henry goes for 220, then it is what it is, I think.
Which is definitely possible. Brees, we'll get there. We'll get there soon, man. We'll get there
I like
soon.
Brees Hall a lot. I told you guys on your own show. The Bills did too. They were following him around by all accounts in that draft. I had good reports that we really like Brees Hall. You guys took him, kind of early, and they had no shot at it. But it's been a crazy competition between the two. Obviously, if you flip the two, I think Brees Hall's doing the same things here that he would be doing, that James Cook is. But I love Brees Hall. I think he's a great back. Is he playing, by the way?
Well, that's a little up in the air. We will see.
Oh, Aaron Glenn,
are you going the way of the Raiders right now and just be like, nah, you're good?
What's funny is that, a couple of things here. First off, this doesn't answer your initial question, but so we named Brady Cook the starter, and the media member asked, hey, did you give any consideration to Hendon Hooker? And for Bills fans, I have no idea. Hendon Hooker was signed a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Funny.
Because of an emergency situation. The media member went, Hendon Hooker? Shoulder shrug? And then Aaron Glenn went, no, Brady Cook's my guy. And the media member followed up, does he give you the best chance to win?
I saw that.
Like, yeah. He gives him the best chance to win. And then it just reminded me of the Seinfeld joke when George Costanza's telling Jerry when he's leaving the diner, he's like, Jerry, just something real quick. Yeah, it's not a lie if you believe it. And that's it. So if you believe that Brady Cook gives you the best chance to win, even if that's a lie, if you believe it yourself, then it's true.
But Green, best chance to win what?
Well, that's what Aaron Glenn should have said. That would have been hilarious to me. And that would have, set many fires in New York probably. But no, so the Jets had this, and I'm sure you saw it, this crazy length injury list of no, not pressing. So as we're sitting here right now, we'll see if we get the practice report before the end of our conversation here live on a Thursday. But now Brees got hurt. It's funny how that all worked too. So in the last game, we're getting our teeth kicked in by the Patriots, right? We're getting our teeth kicked in by everyone. It's hard to remember. So the Patriots. So we're getting beat by the Patriots. Brees Hall gets 1,000 yards. Oh, first time in his career, 1,000 yards. Amazing. Right? And then and he did a few times. So he got it away, came back. And I'm like, oh dear God. And then he ran for a 59-yarder and all right, he's got it. But Brees Hall, as soon as he got 1,000 yards, he mysteriously got hurt. And some Jet fans went, I see. And he went to the sideline and we didn't see him again. Long story short, Brees after the game said, nah, I'm going to be good. But then he didn't practice on Wednesday. So I'm not sure. Long story short, not sure if they're just going to pull the plug on a lot of these guys. It was a very long list. There was Joe Tippmann, their starting right guard was on there, the running back, Mason Taylor's on there. I mean, there's a laundry list of dudes that are out there. So you can't completely roll out. And we don't have sample size, right? You bring up McDermott and you said, historically speaking, bleed, blah, blue has happened. We have no history for Aaron Glenn in these kind of situations. So it's hard to diagnose without a history.
Yeah, kind of wish we didn't have a future, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
I like seeing Brees Hall play, so I honestly I hope he plays. I like to watching him play, but I get why they would shut him down. If honestly, guys, get him healthy. He's going to free agency. Maybe he does or doesn't want to play himself. It's going to be an interesting one for him for sure.
Definitely. I'm definitely terrified of his decision. Wanted to be a Jet. That's the last Jet jersey that I have of an active player after they traded Sauce and Quinton. So, would love for him to be the Jet, but if he wants to be a Texan, then I have to respect his choice. My question, and that's a super interesting stat that you brought up about Josh Allen. 5 seconds for each of his sacks. Obviously, the running game is fantastic with both of them back there. Josh and James Cook. It was said, I want to say last year. How long has Diggs been gone? Last year he was on the Texas. So this is so great, right? There's no, me receiver, just equal to spread everything equal and all this, just everyone get the targets. You get a target, you get a target. This year has been more the same. Keon Coleman, there's been so many people in and out of the rotation that Keon Coleman week 1 was looking like a fantasy steal against the Ravens, then completely falls out of the rotation. We got Mecole Hardman here. Oh, no, he's not. Brandon Cooks is now in the lineup. Khalil Shakir.
Now it's Cooks. Cooks is a hot name right now.
I mean, so talk to me about that. Like, do you still like this idea of just having all these, I don't want to say no name, but like all of these non-wide receiver ones, and then Josh is just trying to make magic out of, these ingredients? Or are you kind of thinking like, it would be nice to, maybe just get like an unselfish wide receiver one next year or something like that?
I'm a content creator that's in the middle on this discussion. So, you're going to probably see many that are like receiver one, like die hard, like that's all that's going to happen. But the way that this offense runs, the way that Josh Allen actually plays himself, we can blame the offensive coordinator or the general manager. It's what he does. At some points, he'll just zone in on Dawson Knox, just zone in on him like an entire game. And that's just is what it is. If he thinks he's got a matchup on a linebacker or safety that he overly enjoys, he's going to go to the well. The Bills ran the same running play 26 times in a row earlier this season. So, and it worked. It was against the Steelers, actually. They just absolutely buried the Steelers running the same James Cook play. 26. It was 26 times at one point. So when it comes to the way that the Bills play, this is what Josh Allen wants to do. He just spreads the ball around. He's looking for certain archetypes of receivers. Last week, it was like just force feeding to Cooks. Brandon Cooks was the number he was zoning on. Hit him deep a couple of times. That's the funny part. The Bills are still at the top of the list in explosive pass plays and air yards. So he just is using, and this is why the Bills are like, all right, fine. If that's how you're going to play, we can't just sink 40 mil. You make 60 yourself. We can't just sink. We can't be the Cincinnati Bengals offense. We can't sink 30 into receiver 1, 30 into receiver 2. Now we're not going to have a running back. Your O-line's one of the league's best. Like, what do you want here? So the Bills made an evolution of saying, we're going to bring in an Aaron Kromer, top flight offensive line coach. We're going to continue to breed and develop your offensive line. And that's just the way that they went with this. And I think it's been smart. The running game's at number 1 in the league. It has kept him clean, but he's leaning into more sacks. Totally his fault. He has a very low pressure rate and a very high sack rate, which last year when he won his MVP was completely flipped. He had no sack to pressure rate. So, it's there's been many times on film he is not taking, he had Cooks wide open for a touchdown and decided to run last week in the fourth quarter. Wide open, like standing on the flats, like literally the Eagles forgot about him, and because they baited him into running, and they did, and he got stopped on the inch line, like literally inches from scoring on fourth down. The Bills later came back and almost won, but that's just an example of he just sees a guy for 4 yards and he's like, I don't care. We'll see if he gets back to that, but he's beaten teams this year like the Chiefs. They beat totally. He was like 24 for 25 and just completely took the check down the entire game, Brady style. So I think as the playoffs go, Josh Allen does turn it on. He does have a little Mahomes in him in that regard. He is a very good playoff quarterback just because he loses to Mahomes, who's, in my opinion, the best ever. Josh isn't far behind analytically, statistically. He's very good in the playoffs. So we'll see if we get that, guys. But question for you is I'm very interested from unbiased perspective.
Sure.
If you're the Bills and you're playing the Jets team this weekend, are you going all out for seeding? Do you think the 5 seed matters? If this was you guys, does the 5 seed matter? Maybe something happens where a Texans team does upset somebody, which they very well could. I don't know about the Chargers. They're basically giving up and they're basically taking the 7 seed if we let them. So what would you guys do in this? Because a lot of people are like, you know what, give us the Patriots. We want to knock the Patriots out more than anything in this whole bracket. But what is your opinion? Would you rather play the Jags, the Patriots, the Steelers, Ravens combo? What would you guys want if this was flipped?
Yeah, let me just be, and this is just unbiased, no nothing here. If I was a Bills fan, I would be absolutely terrified of getting the 5 seed. And I know I'm going to Baltimore or Pittsburgh. I think the Bills' run defense scares the shit out of me. When you look at EPA on man zone runs, anything, I could totally see if Baltimore, who by the way is the favorite in that basically playoff game on Sunday Night Football, if the Ravens win and Buffalo's coming on in, I could see Derrick Henry ripping apart Buffalo. And as long as Harbaugh doesn't have the swallow the whistle on his Derrick Henry play call sheet as he's
runs,
had, right, in the Chiefs championship game a couple of years ago, or what we just saw, like, you know, outside of that happening where they defeat themselves, with all due respect, that one would scare me if I'm a Bills fan. So while, again, Pittsburgh could win, you're not going to know. It'll be in the hands of the football gods. Whatever you win, lose, or try to figure out what you think is going to happen and try to do it, that would scare me. So I would try to avoid, long story short, I would try to avoid the 5 and avoid that 4-5 matchup. And anywhere else, I don't care. New England, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm feeling pretty good. I just went into New England. I just beat the Patriots. We won up. And then even go back to that first game, while it sucks if you're a Bills fan that the Patriots came in your own building and beat you, I'm sure a lot of Bills fans can point at this is the reasons they lost. They didn't just get their
by Josh,
yeah, right, exactly. They're not going to just get their teeth kicked in. So Patriots, I would imagine there's no fear. With all due respect, sorry, Tom Brady's not running out of that tunnel. So I think from that perspective, no issues. Jags give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies because Trevor Lawrence, when he's on, he's a supernova, and he's had some of those games. Now it's not always consistent, but the one I would just avoid is Baltimore. I would welcome New England.
You know what the counter to that is, Boy Green?
What's that?
The Bills match up super well with the Steelers. Like, they absolutely spanked them.
Well, that's the scary part, right?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? Me?
Right. The Steelers have the Ravens numbers, though. The Steelers have the Ravens number.
That's true. But no DK Metcalf. I'm very curious with how that goes. Again, you're playing with fire. So right to your point, you're like, ooh, look at the chops. Ooh, come on, old man Rodgers. That's great. Oh shit, it's Lamar and Derek. Geez. Well, here we go. So yeah, if you guys want to play with, again, at the end of the day, if Baltimore and Buffalo is a matchup, I don't think the Bills are totally screwed and they're going to lose. But that's the one that just gives me fear heading into it. So if you're a Bills fan, you're feeling confident about yourself, fucking win it and hope everything falls through.
Lamar's not Lamar. Lamar's not.
That's also true.
No,
might not even be playing.
Can confirm. We saw Lamar a couple weeks ago, so can confirm.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I wouldn't be afraid of the Ravens. To be honest, I feel really good. Like, that's picked y'all in August. So far, I haven't seen anything too crazy to take me off of the path of both of those teams that I said getting there. I think the Texans are actually a team that scares me because that defense is just, that defense is something. And like, while CJ Stroud, I feel like whatever happened to him in his career needs to be studied because like he was, looking like a top 8 quarterback year one, and has just slowly, been like worse and worse. Despite them, they consistently add receivers every year.
It's the golf effect too. These pocket passers are in trouble. That's part of the issue with Stroud.
By the way, real quick, boys, can Houston leapfrog Jacksonville still for the division?
That's the other. We'll find that out at 1:00, and you'll see quickly. The Bills will not want to go to Houston. It's the place that they add. The Ravens is an interesting debate how healthy and how good they're going to be. The Bills have beaten the Ravens historically, though.
But the Bills-Texans history is interesting. Plus, you have that previous playoff game, right? So
that previous playoff game where they were up 16, and it was basically Josh was a rookie, but they blew it. And they just don't win down there. I think Josh has never won in Houston. Obviously, he's beaten the Texans here. He's never won down there. The Bills in general are have weird history with them, 2-6 or something in recent memory. And they're building it's not great. For some reason, we don't know. Some of Josh's worst games are there. So if the Titans actually beat the Jags, the Texans would be the 3 seed and in very big position to play the Bills. Wow. You may see the Bills go a different direction in this game at 4:00 if they know that it's either possibly the Ravens if they win or the Texans if they win. They may be feeling like, let's go with New England right now, and you see nothing. You see nothing in this football. I would not be shocked by those decisions, and even a harder of those decisions if that game was on Saturday, that Steelers game, which is totally unfair that the NFC gets both of their seeding games on Saturday, by the way. So the rest of the slate knows what they're doing, and we get nothing. We have to wait until the Sunday night game, which is a little bit unfair in my opinion. both of those, that Steelers-Ravens game should have been on Saturday for fairness to the league, just like, you have another seeding game there. Both 4 and 5 winning, or 4 wins and ins should have been on Saturday, in my opinion, between the Tampa Bay Bucks. But then you have this weird Atlanta Falcons situation where they won so many games in a row, then like totally messed the NFL up. They did not expect the Falcons to get in that 3-way tiebreaker to help the Panthers. But guys, I would anticipate a weirder game if the Bills win and play the Texans or Ravens. I think they want more than anything to go into New England and take them out. I think that is literally like on their bingo card. So I would expect this game to then really start to lose a lot of meaning quickly. And then probably threaten that draft pick a little bit if they know the Bills will try to choose their path, in my opinion, because they haven't had great ones in the past. They have had bad paths from the Ravens, from a really challenging Steelers or Patriots teams that have really good promise, then to a Ravens game and then to a Chiefs game. They have not had great paths. And I think they're going to try to dictate it a little bit if they can in this game Sunday against the Jets. So it's going to get weird, I think, bearing anything crazy. So that's what's really interesting, that the Bills could look at that 1 o'clock slate and be like, ooh, the Texans sitting in the 3 seed, and then we got the Ravens maybe in the 4 seed. Maybe we're going to kneel on it this one.
Can I sneak in one more question?
Yeah,
kind of in the same vein that you just asked your question, like of what, if we were in your shoes, if you have any Gotham green shoes over there, if you put those on, would you want to retain Aaron Glenn as the coach of the New York Jets? Because I know, hey, we're in the AFC East, so when news comes out they fired Gerard Mayo, I was like, damn, oh my God, why would they do that? And then, they hired Vrabel, and now we already know what happened to the division this year.
That's honestly a tough answer from putting like your green on for a minute. Like, seriously, like on a Bills fan perspective, like run it back. Like, we'll say we're not worried. Like, we don't think he'll have the right environment. But from a practicality purpose, I can see why, like, you give him one more year, you're going to develop the roster. Like, it's a tough challenge. Turning it over is not always the solution. I firmly believe that. I'm a diehard Yankees fan, for instance, and we want change with our management. Like, they just continue to do the same thing over, and it's very comparable to the Bills. I just think sometimes the Bills are a little bit more, like, I think they're a little bit better in the GM office than the Yankees are. However, when you look at the Jets, it's like, I get why you got to have continuity at some point. But yeah, I mean, the Patriots did set the precedent that it does work. You got a 4th place schedule. You do. And look at how much that mattered for the Patriots. It really, like, the Jets are going to have an easy schedule, or easier schedule. I mean, you're going to play the Cardinals. I mean, you're going to play like some of the weakest teams in each division, which really helped the Patriots. So maybe it is appropriate to watch their mold and say our own division team, like the Patriots, did make a few tweaks. Were able to come out of it. You guys have a bunch of picks, especially if you lose this game. You're looking at what, the 2nd or 3rd pick, right? Second,
yes,
possibly.
Right. So if the Giants beat the Cowboys, which is possible, Cowboys apparently are considering benching starters. So
you can't win though. Doesn't that knock you to the 7? I read. If you won.
Sure.
Yeah.
Either way, by the way, if we don't care about the Giants, but if they were to beat the Cowboys, they could drop all the way to 7. Jets, same thing. If they win, they could drop all the way to 7. Gosh. So dramatic swings of perception for draft.
I think he's got his marching orders that maybe you guys would know more than me. Maybe he's given one more season to turn it around if they complete and get the 2nd overall pick. And do you trust him to select your quarterback possibly? And
that's my big thing. That's
guys, I guess you turn him over, just looking at him from a Jets perspective. But I do get the argument that turnover is not, it could set you back. You could have a new guy come in that stinks equally and makes a bad selection. But I don't think you can be scared of the other end of the coin either, where the Patriots did just prove in our own division that you can have a bad schedule, rebuild it pretty quickly, have some cap space and make it happen. So I think in the results business, I could see moving off of them, but I do get, like, at some point continuity can matter, and it could be better for the org to keep them. But I think you got to do the player interviews. The players are the tiebreaker. If they're like, he does it, or Breece Hall will stay, whatever, XYZ. I think that does matter. That's a good point. More than if Breece Hall's like, nah, dude, I'm not playing for that guy. Then I think you got to make a move.
Right. Kevin, last one here. Switch out your green shoes for red shoes again, I don't know how many different colored shoes you have here, but let's flip it over to your boy, Sean McDermott. Is he coaching for his job in these playoffs? We're talking about, Woody's looking at ourselves in the mirror. Boy, can we fire another coach? What about you guys, huh? Are you ever going to get over the hump? If you can't do it this year, when the hell are you going to do it? No Mahomes, maybe no Lamar, no Burrow, no nothing. Like that's the easiest path of all time. So if the Bills don't do it this year, what about Sean McDermott? Is his ass on the curb?
Just speaking to continuity too, that's why I do have that whole Jets continuity. I could see why they would keep Glenn. The same thing goes in Buffalo, where Terry Pagula, the ultimate tiebreaker here, guys, is Terry Pagula loves Sean McDermott, our owner. It's never going to happen. They've made the playoffs 7 straight seasons in a year where they've even, the owner has even referenced, you got the Chiefs not making it. You got you have Burrow and this best offense, and they can't seem to ever make it again since their one run. So he is going to reference that continuity is going to win out over the proverbial hump that they do believe they'll get over. If it's not this year, soon, because it just has happened in quarterbacks in their 30s where they're able to get over. And Josh Allen's still only 29 as this minute. So I think that will skew the ownership's mind. And I do always lean toward, especially in environments where they're positive. And the tiebreaker, like I told you guys, the players love Sean McDermott. So that will always be the tiebreaker when they call in Josh Allen, when they call in James Cook, when they call in even the defensive captains. They're just, nothing on paper is going to tell the ownership to make a move, because he actually reports to the owner, and the GM does as well. So you could make a higher argument, and many have, that they would move GM first and say it's not McDermott's actually coaching really well given the circumstances of many situations. Like, they've turned around their run defense in the last couple of weeks specifically. The Bills have the best second half defense in the league, actually, in per EPA. So there's definitely some things that are pointing to limitations with having to bring back Jordan Poyer, and Jordan Poyer's playing like twilight ball right now. He was cooked. He was done. And he's playing really good football to the point where people are like, don't play him against the Jets. Like, that's how important he's going to be for the playoff run. So unfortunately, I think he's too good of a defensive coach, where the Bills would be really unknown going to hire an offensive coach, having no idea what's going to happen to their defensive turnaround. And also, like, Josh Allen does get to handpick his offensive coordinator for the most part. If something happens to Brady, Josh will probably be like, I want Stefanski, I want blah, blah, blah. I mean, he will get to handpick. So that has led to the Bills' continuity, players wanting to play here for the most part. I mean, the Bills are basically able to sign any cut veteran. Look at Cooks, look at Judon, Slay, except he just decided to not play football any longer, which is super weird, but that was his own issue. But that, as long as that exists, guys, Sean McDermott is safe until he does do this thing where he doesn't make the playoffs. As long as he's making the playoffs and getting them a ticket in a path where they think is successful, unfortunately, he is safe for the near future.
All right, I will do anything to have the continuity of Sean McDermott making the playoffs 7. You got, and I don't know who's talking about firing him, but that, yeah, I gotta agree.
7 straight years, guys, 8 out of 9. And that was with a really bad team in 2017 with Tyrod Taylor.
Shout out to Tyrod.
I like Tyrod. I think he should. I think he should be playing. He should be playing. Like, honestly, if the Jets,
he's probably pissed.
Yeah, I would be. If the Jets the last couple of weeks, I don't know how healthy. I know he's had the personal and the what and the this and the that.
The personal was the most recent one, so that one we don't know. We keep that off board. But like this week, it sounds, by all accounts, he's healthy enough to go. And AJ's like, Brady cooked.
Absolutely should be playing. If you guys actually were putting your team in the best position. But I get it, man. At this point, the second overall pick is super important to the roster and the organization. And look, though, if the 1 o'clock games goes a certain way, the Bills aren't going to be your friends in this category. They did it to the Patriots last year. Still worked out for them. But they will not participate nicely if they feel their path is better or losing.
Well, Kevin, I just want to say this, and I can speak on behalf of Wudi here, that you're my favorite Kevin around this time of year. Some people pick the Home Alone kid, but not me. You're my guy. So, Kevin, you're number one in my book. So appreciate you taking the time. A double dip for both of our Bills games this year, which is a lot of fun for our third-party Thursdays, man. So I would say good luck in the playoffs, but I wouldn't mean it.
I do mean it.
You mean it, but do you? How about this? You guys don't have like a ton of in this. Like, you want the Patriots to win, though? Like, come on, you can't possibly with that. Or do you actually?
I mean, I would rather.
I definitely don't want the Patriots. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather a meteor crash into the Earth's surface and we all die,
and them
as opposed to either of you doing. I don't want either. I don't want Patriots or you. But thankfully, I've got 5 other choices. Anyone else in the AFC, man. But yeah,
who do you like? Who would you pick?
Who would you pick? I mean, I made a Super Bowl prediction, so I'm trying to be correct. You know what I'm saying? Bills, Rams. I'm out here. Let's,
I would say we did a live show earlier this week, and I just read it to my co-host. Said, folks, one of these 7 teams, the AFC, is going to be in the Super Bowl. We're going to have wings and pizza, and we're going to be huddled around watching one of these: Jags, Broncos, Texans, Bills. Someone, and some of them are more believable in our minds than others in December and January. But someone from this group has to be there. Someone's got to win. So if I had to pick right now, gun to my head, I'm going Houston.
Okay, I think that's fair.
But the topsy-turvy CJ Stroud stuff sort of gives me at the beginning of the Chargers game, defense Stroud, and then I'm like, then half of the game I'm like, all the Stroud.
Who do you want though? Let's say it doesn't matter if it's practical or not. Who would you want of the 7?
I want. I would. I want Lamar to get one. So I would love for Lamar, because he just gets so much disrespect. He has all the MVPs and the stats and everything. And the Ravens have already had a Super Bowl recently, so I just like fresh meat. So in that case, I could pick a different team, like the Jaguars, if I want just a team that's going to have a chance to win a Super Bowl that either has never done it before in some cases, or Texans, right? Another team that hasn't. I'd have that kind of rooting interest. I like seeing new teams in the mix. But a bunch of these teams, like Broncos, they just won a Super Bowl 10 years ago. Patriots are disgusting. Absolutely not. Chargers, I guess, never have, so they could be on the group. But
they're the worst of the bunch, though, unfortunately. I don't think.
Right. Oh, they're done. I think they're just they're a paper tiger. I don't think they're doing diddly in the playoffs, but especially
they wouldn't have made it if the Colts still had a run. I don't know. I don't think that Chargers team.
Which I appreciate the Colts imploding.
The Chargers, they've been
100%.
Yeah.
We're going to New England, though, guys. So most likely. So
easy
unless the Bills have something to say about it, but the Chargers most likely at this stage are going to New England. So we're going to put our Chargers hat, all of us, I guess, and it would be a funny story. But
the Bolts.
It would be a funny story if they get taken down by a team we're calling a paper tiger, because they are themselves. The New England Patriots are 15th DVOA. In my opinion, and DVOA is created by a Patriots fan, and they're 15th DVOA. So makes you think they're an average football team.
Let's see.
Boy Green, can you put up this comment from Richie Fresh on the take plate?
Fresh. Okay, let me see.
On the round table. What's up, Richie?
Oh, there he is. Yeah, there we go. Richie.
Yes. Come on now. Just have to shout out
Richie.
Yes, Kev getting some love.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, you got all the love from us. Definitely appreciate you coming out here talking X's and O's, talking big picture, talking the Bills. That was my Super Bowl pick. As a matter of fact, Boy Green, do you remember your Super Bowl pick for this?
No.
I have no idea. So refresh my memory. I have no idea who it is.
Okay, he had, and this is how you know, he was just drunk on Kool-Aid. He had the Jets, facing off against the Detroit Lions, who did not even.
Slightly askew. That's slightly off. Slightly off.
I get
Aaron Glenn getting his revenge. So the storylines were juicy.
I get the love for it, but
thank you.
Detroit struggling without their coordinators, though, guys. So maybe Glenn.
Yes.
Hey, see, Lions immediately miss the playoffs as soon as Aaron Glenn leaves. I don't want to.
Ben Johnson seems to be a pretty big factor.
Isn't he he's 11-20 without Ben or something like that?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It's really wild.
And he's 0-1 in the playoffs. 0-1 making the playoffs without Aaron Glenn. Those are just stats.
That Lions team is not, in my opinion, not built the right way, but they could prove me wrong next year.
But awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time, brother. A lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of the holidays. We got to get ready for an important game. No, not Jets, Bills. We got Indiana, freaking Alabama,
That's
baby.
right.
Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson. That could be one of the next 2 Jets quarterbacks.
Hopefully the Bills don't mess this up for you, though. Don't get too. You're thinking in the fourth quarter when the Bills are going to punt again from the 37. I'm
don't make you don't want to tempt me with a good time. We'll put Brady Cook out there. Okay. We'll put Brady Cook out there.
I mean, he's going to be out there. He's
honestly, to wrap this all up, the Bills would probably take, even if it meant the Ravens, they're probably going to take the higher seed. I think that's where they're at as of this moment.
And hey, they give you a backdoor opportunity for your Bills to have a home playoff game in some weird.
I think that's a tiebreaker. Yeah.
So
they will take the higher seed.
Kevin, you're the best, baby. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Wudi, final thoughts. Go.
Just appreciate you so much, Kev. Let's go, Bills. Let's get this done. Buffalo, come on now, en route to the Super Bowl. That's what I'm talking about. And New York Jets, we definitely will be watching that Fernando game. Dante Moore did not look too great. So we'll see how that goes. And let's go Buffalo.